Biology is such a diverse subject. There are just so many things that you can do, and because it's spring, obviously there's a lot of things going on at my house in terms of plants. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the variety of different kinds of propagation methods, and obviously you could delve into those one at a time because there's so many things that you could talk about them. Obviously, we talked about plant parts the other day. You could do that in terms of different plant parts. Obviously, this is a little hyacinth and a little grape hyacinth. But hyacinths come with bulbs, and I just wanted to let you see what the bulbs look like to realize that there are different types of ways that plants grow. These are from a bulb. You can see the bulb and then the root structure down below the bulb, and obviously makes those plants. Now, bulbs, for the most part, come out in the spring. Not all of them necessarily, but most of them come out in the spring. There are gladiolus and that kind of thing that come out in the summer. They all are bulb structured, but they only come up, do their thing, and then you don't see the top of them anymore. This is a little grape hyacinth, and I brought the two different kinds just so that you could see the different sizes of the bulbs, and that has to do with the size of the top of the plant. Obviously, a little small bulb, if I can get these apart here, a little small bulb like this one has would not hold up the structure of this big hyacinth, but it would its little baby brother, which is a grape hyacinth. So you can see the difference in the size of bulbs. So there's lots of things that you could talk about in terms of bulb structure and plant propagation with bulbs. Let's look at some other different types of propagation. All of you from time to time do seeds. And obviously you could sprout a seed. You could talk about the different parts of the seeds, the seed coat, the little embryo in the middle. If you put it in a little water and let it start by itself, it's pretty interesting to watch it grow from that aspect, so that in itself could be a lesson. But I planted 2 bean seeds, and actually I planted them 2 weeks apart. And you could make a hypothesis about which one I planted first. But I bet you'd be wrong, because this one is the first one I planted. This one is the second one I planted a week later. Interesting to me that the sunlight that they got was different. One was in one window, one was in another window, and so the sunlight made a big difference in what happened. However, that extended sunlight that this one got has caused it to be awfully stemmy, which is not going to make a good plant for production in your garden. So there's lots of things that you could talk about that. So you could talk about parts of a plant, you could talk about parts of seeds, you could let the students do seeds themselves, see which one they grow, all kinds of experiments about light and dark, I've even seen students do experiments on whether some plants grow better with different watering conditions, if they water them more or less, that type of thing. I wanted to point out particularly about this one that this little fella still has the seed packet on it attached, which is unusual for most seeds. When they come up, the seed packet won't come with it, but you'll notice that this is the 2 little parts of the bean right there, and they're still attached. Obviously, as the plant gets a little bigger, those will fall off. But all kinds of things that you could do with seeds. Seeds are very inexpensive. Obviously, a lot of them that you could get for free. Different kinds of plants have different kinds of propagation, and by propagation I'm talking about the way that they produce more of their own. But this is an iris plant, and they have rhizomes. And you'll see that it's putting out new little babies right here. It's got 3 little new babies right here. This is an old stalk. It puts out new roots. Now you'd think, well, that's a bulb. Well, it's a little different structure than a bulb and produces a little differently. Even though the bulbs will multiply and make multiple bulbs in the same packet. So you can see this one has 3 together, but this is a little different setup with rhizomes. So you could do a lab with irises and rhizomes. Don't know whether any of you have ever grown sweet potatoes or not, but obviously I've taken a sweet potato, and I don't know whether you can see all of the roots. I'll take him out there, and you can see all of the roots. I just put him in water. My mother used to do this in the kitchen window, and she would put the the jar down, or put the potato down in a jar, keep it filled with water, and you can see it's beginning to put out leaves up here at the top, and it would make a beautiful vine that helped decorate our kitchen for several months in a row. So an interesting thing that you could do inside. Obviously, if you've grown sweet potatoes, you put sweet potato slips out, and so if you are a gardener or if you know a gardener that could talk about that. But interesting, different kind of propagation form for it to sprout out from there. Some people like to do rootings, and so I've taken some rootings here, and I just broke off stems from the plant. This is what at home we call them Charlie plants, and you can see that it's beginning to plant roots or grow roots, and then you would just take this and plant it. Obviously there are lessons on planting. You could talk about the rooting system and so forth. This is a Wandering Jew, which has a few little roots on it. It didn't root as well. This one has better roots on it. A few little roots on it, a little better than the other one did. The Charlie obviously rooted better than the weeping or the creeping Charlie, but lots of plants will do that. Sometimes when you break off a plant, people will put Rootone or a growth hormone attached to them, a little powder. You can buy it at any kind of gardening store. Put that down in the ground, and that helps to grow as well. You can try some other different experiments